Akhenaten, the 10th ruler of the 18th dynasty of Egypt. He was the husband of ancient Egypt's most beautiful woman, Nefertiti, the father of the golden masked boy, King Tutankhamun, and the mysterious pharaoh whose entire record has been erased from Egyptian history after his death. At the same time, he is also the main figure in the alien pharaoh mystery. Akhenaten is the only pharaoh whose records have been completely erased from ancient Egyptian history. There are two reasons for a person's disappearance from history. It is either the need to erase their existence or to hide their identity. Some historians refuted such claims, stating that it was merely Akhenaten's punishment for murdering God. The moment he ascended to the throne, he banned Egypt's traditional polytheism and attempted to establish Atenism, in which the Aten was the sole god of Egypt. For hundreds of years, Egyptians have served many ancient gods, including Osiris, Isis, and Horus. They believed that the pharaohs were mediators between them and the gods until one day, it was forbidden. They were ordered to serve only the Aten, an unknown and unfamiliar god. The Aten, the new sun god, took over despite the existence of Ra, the creator and sun god who had been considered king of the gods since the 5th dynasty. Following this sudden change, the ancient gods' paintings and sculptures in temples were replaced by the Atens. However, something is strange about how the Aten is depicted in paintings. The god does not take the form of a human being or an animal, but a large sun disk floating in the sky, with sun rays emanating from it. Some sort of small silhouette can also be seen inside the disk, as if someone is riding it. Such characteristics do not apply to just one, but to all depictions of the Aten. Some argue that the Aten is a present-day UFO. Another strange fact is that there is a passage that describes Akhenaten's relationship with the god Aten as a personal bond. There is only one god, the Aten. I am able to approach him day and night. Additionally, an ancient poem written during Akhenaten's reign also contains a passage about the pharaoh encountering beings from heaven. Based on this, conspiracy theorists claim that the pharaoh had been given some general advice on Egyptian government and policies from extraterrestrial beings. Their influence led Akhenaten to deifying them under the name Aten, O sole god like whom there is no other. Thou didst create the world according to thy desire. Whilst thou wert alone, all men, cattle, and wild beasts, whatever is on earth going upon its feet, and what is on high flying with its wings. This leads us to question, was the Aten, the UFO-like god, nothing but an imaginary being worshipped by ancient Egyptians? Some people said that Akhenaten could be related to the god himself, not just influenced by them. Throughout his reign, Akhenaten ordered artists to paint him exactly the way he is instead of beautifying his appearance. Through murals, portraits, and sculptures, we now know that he has an elongated head, slender fingers, a bulging chest and stomach, and thin limbs. This is different from the other pharaohs. To cover up the fact that someone influenced by extraterrestrial beings was once a ruler of Egypt, Akhenaten's successors later erased all records related to him and the Aten. They even went as far as banning people from saying his name, as it was considered a taboo. Once considered a mere conspiracy theory, this suspicion took a new turn when an unidentified mummy was unearthed from a tomb in the Valley of the Kings. January 6, 1907. Archaeologist Edward R. Arton discovered an underground tomb hidden under a rock while he was investigating the Valley of the Kings, where the ancient Egyptian royal family was buried. The entrance to the tomb was double sealed, with Egyptian royal seals seen on the walls. Looking at the size of the tomb, Arton initially thought it might belong to Queen Tayi, the great royal wife of Amenhotep III. The excavation team was excited to discover a gilded coffin that appeared to belong to a woman in the burial chamber, just as Arton predicted. But the moment the coffin was opened and the mummy was revealed, everyone on the site froze. The mummy contained in the coffin has its head and body separated due to severe corrosion. The head was unusually long and large to be considered a human's. The mummy was badly preserved. It was damaged to the point where the head got separated from the torso, making it difficult to identify its gender and age. The mummy's bone shape was different than that of an ordinary human's, a fact that was obvious to the naked eye. The unusually shaped skull especially raised numerous suspicions. Unfortunately, genetic identification technology did not exist at the time, and the excavation team had very little to provide as evidence. After analyzing the mummy with two experts accompanying him to the excavation site, Arton concluded that it belongs to a woman with bone deformity. The absence of male genitalia, the wide pelvis, and the pose of arms crossed over the chest that is unique to the female mummy were his reasons for doing so. The most important thing, that is the mummy's identity, however, remained unknown. Although the coffin contained a number of grave relics, including a delicately crafted golden eagle chest ornament, there were no clues that pointed to the coffin owner. This is a very unusual case because Egypt is a record-rich country. When a person died, their achievements and memorial writings were engraved on the walls of the burial chamber. In this case, there was nothing on the nameless mummy's tomb. 4 canopic jars buried alongside the mummy were discovered as well, but it appeared that someone had removed the hieroglyphics engraved on them. A few months after the first round of excavations that ended with no progress, British anthropologist and anatomist Grafton E. Smith announced something interesting. A thorough examination revealed that the mummy wasn't a woman's, but a young man around the age of 25. Bone deformities such as his skull are presumed to be caused by the royal family's incestuous marriages. Following the renowned scholar's statement, the situation developed in unexpected ways. There was an argument that the tomb owner, who appeared to have been secretly buried, may be Akhenaten, the mysterious pharaoh who disappeared from ancient Egyptian history. Although the bone structure was too youthful and thick for a man who died in his 40s, it was highly likely that his illnesses hindered his bones from growing normally. This argument was further strengthened by bricks with Akhenaten's name engraved on them, which were discovered during the first round of excavations. Afterwards, scholars continued their investigation on the mummy's identity using various methods. That is, until they faced unexpected interference. We cannot allow foreigners to inspect mummies discovered in Egypt, as this matter is linked to national security. The Egyptian government then completely banned foreign research and the transport of mummies out of the country. As a result, research on mummies came to a standstill for decades. Later, in 2010, when genetic research started being actively conducted all over the world, the Egyptian government allowed only domestic researchers to conduct DNA tests. The DNA genetic testing of Akhenaten's mummy and Tutankhamun's mummy revealed that the two mummies are related, as father and son. At last, 100 years after it was unearthed, Akhenaten's mummy found its name. Since then, modern and extensive DNA studies and tests have been conducted on Tutankhamun's mummy to discover the cause of his death and his appearance during his lifetime. Strangely, Akhenaten's mummy was excluded from the process. Several countries have asked for permission to conduct research as well, but all of them were rejected by the Egyptian government. The government's firm attitude raised suspicions, and shocking news was later reported online. A team of comparative genomics researchers from a university in Cairo, Egypt, have collected and tested 9 DNA samples of Egyptian pharaohs. The test results showed traces of artificially fabricated and modified genes in some samples. The DNA sample from which the fabricated genes were discovered was none other than the one belonging to tomb KV55, or in other words, Akhenaten's mummy. According to the article, the research team used PCR technology to detect genetic oddities. As a result, they discovered a DNA structure that is different from humans. An informant claimed that these results prove that there are ancient Egyptian pharaohs who were genetically engineered by beings from other universes. This shocking claim has been quoted and reported through various media. However, it has not yet been officially recognized by academia. Was Akhenaten, as some have claimed, a genetically modified hybrid? And from what kind of being did the soul god Aten come from? This has been Strange Night.